Hey everybody. In this update, we're going to talk about a little bit of a design change that I've done in the airplane, my big transport. When I did my motor run up, one thing I've been really fearful of is that the prop blast that comes off my motors goes right onto my horizontal stabilizer. So I'm going to do a really bad drawing here, but I think you'll understand. So if you look at the back of my airplane right now, okay, and this is where the cargo door is. So we're looking at the back of the airplane, and this is the back flat spot on the airplane. I have a horizontal stabilizer here. I have a horizontal stabilizer here. Then I have a vertical stab, and then ahead of all of this is my wing, and right here is a nacelle, and right here is a nacelle. And they're blowing right back on those horizontal stabilizers, okay? So kind of remember what this looks like right here, okay? So I started thinking about, well, I also have another issue. The other issue is the opening of my trailer. I wanted the rear of the airplane to be able to go in without taking off the horizontal stabilizer. Okay, so right now the way it's designed is I have a 1/2 inch on each side of my horizontal stabilizer to get into the back of my trailer. All of this area right here is fuselage, and only these are considered devices, control surfaces that the air going over them can control. So when we think about that prop blast and everything, and mathematically, we're going to look down on the airplane for a minute. So when I look down on the airplane, okay, we've got the wing. Okay, this is not proportionally right. We've got the nacelles. Then we've got horizontal stabilizers. We got 2 motors that are tractors and 2 are pushers, and all that wind is going to be blasted the way the design was right across my horizontal stabs. The horizontal stabs have aluminum tubing in it as a spar. The horizontal stabs each have 2 servos, but there's no way for me to increase this square inches and it still fit inside my trailer. Now keep in mind, the way this is designed is my outboard wings go on, and all of this without the outboard wings will fit right into my trailer. So the airplane in this configuration would roll right into my trailer. But the problem is I cannot increase these square inches, and these horizontal stabs are at the minimal they can be and be still effective control surfaces. So I've always been worried about the square inches. Now, I tried to cheat that a little bit by making some big old paddle elevators. Okay, the problem with those big old paddle elevators are they do flutter easy. They're much more susceptible to flutter. Okay, so about 28% of my space here is the elevator, a big old elevator hanging there. That's always bothered me in my mind. So I thought, okay, how do I fix these things that I'm fearful of? One of my biggest fears is that prop blast across that horizontal stabilizer, that elevator over time is just going to tear it up. When you saw my motor run up to full throttle, I mean, I haven't put my scales on it properly, but I did use this big 100-pound scale on my table to see what the thrust was. I have over 88 pounds of thrust right now. That's not scientific. I'm going to build a real rig to test all 4 motors, okay? But right now I had 88 pounds of thrust. So all that wind blowing across those horizontal stabilizers is scaring the crap out of me. I'm really, really nervous that this is going to be problematic. So how do I fix this? And I'm going to draw a couple of different sketches here to try to explain it. So let's go back again to the rear of the fuselage. Okay, and here's the cargo door. So if we're looking at the bottom of the fuselage for a minute, I'm going to try to do a little isometric drawing here for you. Is that in a glare? No, you can see that. So the fuselage comes like this, and then it comes down. Okay, and here's the cargo door. Let me draw that a little bit better. Here's the cargo door. Here is a horizontal, here's the tail. And then right here would be my horizontal stabilizer that stuck out like this. Okay, and then I had another horizontal stabilizer stuck out like this. Okay, I have prop blast right across that. So this part right here, if you look through it, that's what you're looking at here, the back of this. So this part here is this part here. This part here is this area here. So hopefully that makes sense. So with that, with us looking at that design, and look, I've put a lot of thought into this to try to figure out how do I increase the square inches of my horizontal stabilizer and how do I get it out of the blast. So my wing sits on top of the fuselage, and here is a nacelle with a spinner. Here's a nacelle with a spinner. But we also know that I have two vertical stabilizers that come up like this. We know that the width of the horizontal stabilizer can't exceed the width of the trailer, right? You've got to get in the trailer. So this is the opening of my trailer. The plane's got to roll in here. I need to have around 2 inches on each side. Right now I have about a ½ inch, which means every time I put it in there, I'm going to have people supervise and help me get it in and out of the trailer without hitting that horizontal stab every time. Another issue with the horizontal stab that I want to show you real quick. When you have really big barn door elevators, so let's say this is the horizontal stabilizer, this is the horizontal stabilizer, this is the big barn door elevator. It's really hard to make counterbalances. So if I wanted to bring this out like this and put lead in here, okay, as the counterbalance, bring out the stabilizer here, I'm too wide to go on the trailer now. Okay, if I cut into the wing here and put my counterbalance, I lose some of the hinge surface I need for my hinges. Okay, that's a redesign right now. So I really hate that design. When I first designed it, I thought it was a pretty good idea. The more I look at this, the more I hate it. So what do I do now? So let's think about this for a minute. And I know a lot of you are already thinking it. I'm guaranteeing you're thinking it. We put the horizontal stabilizer up here on top of the vertical stabilizer. It's almost like a T-tail, but it's got two vertical stabs here that tie it all together. What's beautiful about this design is all this area here that wasn't flying surface, I just picked up. I add almost a third more square inches of my horizontal stabilizer, which is incredible. So what does it look like from the top now? We have a stabilizer that is much easier to have a huge elevator, huge counterbalances, put 5 hinge points on it, put 3 servos on this, and the plane is now going to have an elevator horizontal stabilizer. I've already figured out some rough calcs I've got plenty of meat to screw this all to it, and I'm going to be lighter. Even though I'm adding all these square inches in the middle, I'm taking out the big aluminum spar that had to run through the fuselage to pick up the two horizontal stabilizers when they're down there. I'm taking out all that fiberglass tube to accept all of that. This is going to be about 15% lighter than all the parts, but I'm increasing almost 28% more square inches. Now, this is going to look really cool now. It's going to be absolutely crazy having a big, when this airplane's on the ground, that horizontal stabilizer is going to be almost at my chin. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I do have to do a little bit of modifications to the to the tail of the airplane now to get all that infrastructure I had put in there for the horizontal stabilizer. I'm going to take about 1 pound out of the tail, and I'm not adding, well, it's going to be a lot lighter. Having one full piece of foam with the ribs in there with a couple of hinges is going to be so much lighter than having that huge aluminum tube going through there as the spar. So this is the update, everybody. That's what my horizontal stabilizer is going to look like now. It will be also out of the blast. It might get a little bit of air, but 90% from what I'm guessing is going to now just be blowing off the back and not hitting those horizontal stabilizers. So this is really freaking epically cool, awesome. So that's going to be what the new tail looks like. I don't have any AutoCAD drawings yet or any 3D renderings of what it will look like with the elevated tail. But what I'm hoping to do this weekend is go by Home Depot, and get some more pink foam. I would love this weekend to build the horizontal stabs, unless I go motorcycle or dirt bike riding with my daughter. But this is epic. This is kick-ass. Imagine what this thing's going to look like in the air, in the configuration that it is. I mean, this airplane now, and let's see if I can kind of draw it isometrically for you. I doubt I can, everybody, okay? But imagine, I'm trying to think what view I want to draw it. So if this is the horizontal stabilizer, and then you have the vertical stab come down, picks up the fuselage back in here. Whoops. Kind of like this. Screw that out there. Okay. Well, actually, the vertical stabilizer will go all the way back to there. You wouldn't see this one. Okay, you'll have your rudder here. You'll have a little bit of the rudder over here. And you'll have your elevator in that. So that's a little bit more. So then what we're going to have is our wing down here. I did that line wrong. You're going to have your wing like this. Nacelle with the pusher, puller, nacelle, pusher, puller, and fake windows, because this thing is supposed to be like 100 yards long, or 300 yards long in scale. So that is kind of what the airplane, the new horizontal stabilizer will look like. So this is going to be kick-ass. I mean, I'm super excited to get this done. Is it a setback? Yeah, about 2.5 weeks will be the overall setback. I mean, making the horizontal stab will be easy, but I got to set a jig up so I can hot wire this airfoil out of the top of each two vertical stabilizers. So building that jig is going to take a little bit of time. It might not even be a 2-week setback. I mean, once I get my juices flowing on some of these redesigns, I spend 20 hours working on it and get a lot done. So thanks for watching my updates. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. I never thought I'd end up with 2,500 subscribers in my life. I never thought I'd be at 750,000 views on YouTube. I'm waiting for my millionth view, even though that's not big compared to some of these teenage stars. But this is epic. This is exciting, and it actually is going to save me a little bit of weight while giving me a lot more stability in the tail. Now, the only challenge in this is I'm not going to be able to adjust those vertical stabilizers very good. So once I get that all locked in, I got to make sure all the geometry is right. Because originally I was going to be able to trim these a little bit in their sockets. And if they're attached to the horizontal stabilizer, that's impossible. But keep in mind, I can have really good counterbalances on the elevator now. I can get the elevator much smaller, but still have more square inches because I'm covering the entire trailing edge. So thanks for watching my videos, everybody, and have a great day. Rock on.